Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to both the witnesses this afternoon. Interesting testimony. So first and foremost, to you, Mr. Gibbons, I just want to say thank you for celebrating your labor force, for your team. That to me is pretty awesome that you recognize that they are first and foremost. And I'm quite sure it's not just WestJet; it could be any one of our airlines. But congratulations on that front. So to that extent, sir, what specifically is WestJet doing to support them? And to take it a step further, what more could the government be doing to help support WestJet to get more labor to the force?
Thank you very much for the question. Thank you for complimenting the WestJetters. They are great. In terms of what the government can do, I think that was part of the testimony last time I was here, which mainly focused around a stable operating environment, and that exists in a couple of different ways. Definitely there's a COVID border travel guidance discussion to have, and credit to the minister last week. He did ask for feedback on this in this regard in terms of what lessons we can learn from COVID. So we do need to thank him for making that an issue of the summit. He could have chose not to do that. He didn't, and good feedback was received, I hope. So that is, we need a stable operating environment so that people want to work in our sector. They want to come to work for our company. They want to serve Canadians. They're not worried about up and down regulations or other issues. So I think that's going to go a long way to labor stability.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons. I appreciate that. That's good feedback. So I'm gonna switch gears here. So last Thursday, I went to the Ottawa airport. I will not name the airline. And once again, my flight. Well, long story short is I took a taxi, and I sat there for 2.5 hours to find out my flight was delayed. And so, anyways, the reasoning is it says reason. Flight schedule realignment because of earlier weather conditions, and then it has an asterisk. Category uncontrollable event. Through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Morrison, you had spoke about safety before. Would this be considered a safety event?
So thank you, Mr. Chair. And by the way, before answering that, I just also want to acknowledge the workforce of all of the airlines in the country. They have done exceptional work in the most incredibly difficult circumstances, so I just want to thank you for acknowledging that. I can't speak to the particulars of any specific incident. What I can say is that weather delays, of course, have a safety element related to them, but that ultimately those decisions are up to the pilots and to the individual airlines. As I said in my opening statement, cancellation of a flight is the last resort. It is only used if the pilots and decision makers are feeling that there is a safety concern, but in no way, shape, or form do they do it lightly.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. So to take that one step further, I'm just down to my last minute, 50 seconds here. So about 3 weeks ago, I was, the exact same thing happened. Okay, so I went to the Ottawa airport. I was sent back home. Thank goodness I've got an apartment here in Ottawa, so I've got a place to stay. So I was rebooked on the next morning flight at 7 o'clock. That flight got canceled. Then I was rebooked at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That flight got canceled. So, sorry, that one got me to Toronto. My Toronto flight was canceled. I jumped on an Uber and I drove to Windsor. My question, because I believe it was you, sir, that said there's a responsibility of the airlines that they have to rebook you within 48 hours. That second rebooking, does my 48 hours start again? And my third rebooking, does it start again? And my fourth, does it start again? Or is it from the very first time that my flight was delayed?
Yeah, I would have to verify that, Mr. Lewis, with the regulators to be clear on that. What I can say is on the 48 hours, that of course that is the maximum time provided for in the regulations. The vast majority of the cases are nowhere near that. Airline crews, we talked about the fantastic work that airline crews have been doing over the past 2 years. They will endeavor to put you on the quickest or the most available next flight available. So we do apologize for the incidents that you suffered, but in most cases, that next available flight will be much shorter than the 48-hour window provided for.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison, and I've only got about 20 seconds left, so I want to thank you both again, gentlemen. Thanks for answering my questions as truthful as you could. Thanks again to your labor force, and if you would, Mr. Morrison, would you please follow up with this committee just with an answer, a written response to that last question I asked?